All right. Well, hello, everybody. This is Shari Strong. I'm sitting in for Jo Self this week. She is on an excursion to Greece. So I hope she's having fun. And when you watch this, Jo, we miss you. I will also be hosting next week. So I am really excited though because I have a special guest. See, and when you get to host these, you get to choose who you interview. And so this week, I've been waiting to do this actually since we started doing these about a year ago. So it just fell into place and timing was right and he couldn't say no. So we are going to get started. It is 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern on October, my goodness, what's the date today? The
16th.
16th, thank you. Okay, October 16th. And we are going to be talking about the talent theme Arranger today. And the guest is Steve Strong, my husband. So that's his number one talent is Arranger. And he's going to talk about it today. We just thought, rather than him be in the other room and be on a video, we would just have a conversation right here to share about his Arranger talent and how they work, because we're starting to add in this go around. If you guys were with us the 34 weeks prior, last week we started with Achiever. Next week we'll have Activator. This week we're doing Arranger, but we're going to add a few more questions in and talk about the dynamics of them too. And actually, I think it was meant to be that Steve be on this one because you're going to hear, I think you'll hear instinctively about how they work together and they don't actually stand alone. So with that, I am going to let Steve, I'll let you introduce yourself, tell them what you do in the real life, tell them your top 5 talents, and then we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm Steve Strong. I am a safety inspector with the Federal Railroad Administration. My top 5 talents are Arranger, individualization, achiever, competition, and responsibility.
Tell us a little bit, how long have you been with the Federal Railroad Administration?
I've been with the FRA for almost 2 years. I've been in the railroad industry for 18.
Yeah. So that, and you're a military vet as well.
I am. Yeah. I was in the Army. I was an infantry squad leader.
Yeah, 8 years. So anyway, he has lots of experience and diverse experience, we'll just say that. So with that, we're going to be talking about Arranger. And the Arranger talent theme is a theme that actually, it's when somebody can go in and it's like they're a conductor. They can see all the pieces just instinctively of something that's going on. They also like to arrange things and rearrange things, if you will. And so they instinctively, if you think of an orchestra, a conductor of an orchestra, no pun intended, a conductor of an orchestra where they have all these different musical instruments and all these different things that are going on, but they make them all happen at once and they're able to arrange it and make something beautiful out of it, something effective, something that is perfect. So that's really what the really high level definition of Arranger or what it is. And remember, just a few little reminders here about what the difference between talent and a strength. A talent is something that you instinctively do. So this is his number one talent. He cannot not see all the pieces, if you will. It's only a strength if it's being used productively for you and those around you. Otherwise, it's just raw talent. So he cannot not think this way. This is what he does. He doesn't stop and go, oh, let's see where all the pieces are. He just sees them. So a little bit on the difference between a talent and a strength, because I think it's really important. But so many people, when we're interviewing them, they often will say, well, I don't think about this that much. It just kind of happens. And that's the point. That's why we want to interview you and make you think about it a little bit so that everybody else who doesn't have that talent in their top 5, we have all 34, just a matter of how much we use each one of them. So with that said, I have a few questions that we normally ask and we'll just have a little conversation. Sound good? Okay, awesome. So knowing you have the Ranger talent and it's your number one talent, and of course you live with me, so you hear about this all the time. And yeah, what do you love most about the Ranger talent?
Well, it's funny you mentioned conductor. And when I started my career in the railroad industry, I started as a conductor. And part of the job as a conductor is, especially in yard switching, trains will come in and there's blocks of cars. They're not always together, that have to be separated from that train, placed into another block to build a new train to go out. The thing that I enjoyed about that, and where I think my Ranger came into play, was coming up with an idea and a plan to make as few moves, switching moves, to get these trains built and out of the yard as quickly as possible.
Yeah, great example. So, I mean, it's interesting. I asked him what he loved about it, and he gave us an example too. And that's great because, so what you love, I don't want to put words in your mouth, what you love, what it sounds like is it helps you get things done quickly.
I guess what I love about it is, no matter what it is, I feel like there's got to be a better process.
Mm-hmm.
So I love trying to figure what the better process is.
Yeah, rearrange things to make it better. See, it's about efficiency and quality, right? So some of you out there might have heard a little bit in there, like it's about making it better. You might be thinking maximizer. Maximizer is taking things to the next level. But for what he said, it's a Ranger, for his Ranger, it's more about the process, making it inefficient. There's an efficiency quality to the Ranger talent theme. Okay, great. So what drives you crazy then about your Ranger talent?
Well, at the same time, I feel like I can get caught up in the weeds with something that maybe really doesn't need to be fixed. But I'm constantly searching, thinking there's got to be. So I feel that time is wasted.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can wait. Yeah, because a Ranger, there's a cliche out there that says, I'm a repilot, so I repilot and I repilot and I repilot. That's what comes to mind when I hear you say that, because it's like you're constantly arranging and rearranging things. When do you stop? So we'll talk about that a little bit. Let me ask you this, because we believe everybody was born with these talents, and either you've refined them or you've learned how, not refine them, right? They're really raw. So otherwise your siblings will have the same top 5 talents as you do. So we believe you were born with these talents. When's your earliest memory do you remember, like, now that you know about this and you think back, man, I was using this talent when when was your earliest memory?
Probably when I was a kid. There was a group of kids in the neighborhood, and we were really close, and we come up with this idea we were going to build a cabin that we could camp out in. So I remember drawing up just crude blueprints and assigning duties. And, Jimmy, you're going to steal your dad's chainsaw, and we're going to need fuel, and we're going to go down and try to beg some nails from the hardware store, and making a list and assigning duties and
using chainsaws when you were kids.
Yeah,
we
Lord. Did. We did.
Yeah. So right, when you guys had an idea, you could see all the pieces that needed to be done. Okay, I love that. That's a great one. So, what do you think others need to know, like your coworkers, if they understood this language? And people who get frustrated by you, right? And the way you think, what do you wish other people would know about the Ranger talent?
And I've experienced this in the past. Maybe I'm looking at a process or changing a way of doing things, and my coworker may have come up with the process that's in place now. And if they would understand that, I'm just trying to make it better, and it's not a personal attack on the process that they put into place. I want to be a team player, but I want it to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, you've used the word efficient a lot. Plus, you've used the word change. Change equals a Ranger. So yeah, sometimes changing things isn't hard for you, and it sounds like, because it's going to help the quality and even efficiency of something. So other people, though, who aren't as accepting to change, yeah, you want them to know it has nothing to do with what you just did. This is just how my brain works. Like, I'm going to think about the changing of. Okay, I love that. I love that. Here, I'm going to make sure we have a couple people hopping on here. We're going to make sure they're on mute. Awesome. Okay. I had some questions here. So you have your top 5 are arranger, individualization, achiever, competition, and responsibility. Okay. How does your arranger play with those? And knowing that you don't sit around and study this every day, just off the top of your head, like, 1 or 2 of the other ones that you know about?
Well, I would say they go together well, with the exception of one.
Why do you say that?
Well, because I think sometimes I get caught up in the weeds with my arranger. I want to think and plan and have everything in the right place. And at the end of the day, my achiever is left out in the cold. I'm like, what did I really get done today? Instead of sitting and planning and coming up with the idea. And, it's still productive work, but it doesn't feel productive at the end of the day when.
Okay, can I comment on this as your spouse?
Yeah.
So it comes across as procrastination. And I can remember when you first took this assessment, I swore up and down he did not have the achiever theme at all. And because I was like, you're achiever, I have achiever number 2. And so I have strategic. So I see the plan, I see all the pieces, but I instantly go, I eliminate obstacles because my goal is to get it done. That's what achiever is, get it done. Arranger is you're going to change things. You may eliminate things. You may add things. It just depends. And then you'll get it done. But I could see, and I've experienced, right? Because it could come across as you're thinking about it too much. And, what I used to think, in fact, I always think that you have analytical in your top 5. I think you have that in your top 10. But because he's constantly thinking of new ways, so then he procrastinates. And so then I have to know, listen, I'm going to plant the seed. He's going to think about it and think about it and think about it. Then he'll get it done. It's just he's not going to get it done on my time frame. And when we were first married, I used to get frustrated. And then when we learned this language of strength, so this is for all of you spouses out there. Any of you have a spouse? Take the assessment because it can save your marriage.
It can be a big benefit.
It can be a big benefit because I used to go, like my sense of urgency, it's all about getting it done. He wants to get it done too, but he wants to make sure all the pieces are in place first before he gets it done. Does that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but does that?
No, that's exactly right. But I think it works well with the other ones too, the individualization, because I always like to know, what motivates a person. What role are they going to be best at on my team? And the competition. I love putting people together and having a common goal. And at the end of the day, I want to be responsible for the success or the failure. I'll shoulder that. So, I think they work good together. Yeah,
well, they do. That's what makes you a unique genius. So they do. And you can hear it too when you talk. So remember, theme dynamics, this is about how they work together. None of them really stand alone. So that's why my achiever and Steve's achiever show up completely different, because it's what surrounds it and what, how we think. So I look at the plan, I want to see the why, I eliminate obstacles, then I get it done, then I'm going to go learn what I need to learn. It's about the people one-on-one, but that's after I have all that. You see all the pieces, all the people, you want to make sure the people are in place first before you even say, let's get it done. Once you put it on your list, you're going to win. Like, it's a winning plan. You want it to be the best. That's why I keep hearing, I think that's why we hear the efficiency and quality, right? It's about being there's a better way of doing it. That's his competition supporting his arranger. It comes out as maximizer possibly, but so two of them together can sound like a different talent. Yes, I hear your competition. It's like a supporting role to your, everything is supporting your arranger. Yours truly does support your arranger and individualization. I think those two together. So yeah, I could see how they work together. And let me ask you this question. This wasn't a question that I handed you ahead of time. Can you tell me, would you mind sharing with, like, I know what drives you crazy, but when do you get stuck with your talents besides the arranger and procrastinating? When do you find like a situation where it's like, man, I need to lean on one of my lower ones to get through something?
Well, I'm working on a project right now that's pretty detailed, and it's going to take some time to complete. And in the beginning, I was really good about developing a plan, building my files, having everything in place. And I've kind of struggled the last couple of days with the actual writing of the report.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably my least favorite thing to do is hold up in an office for several days working on this. So I've struggled with that.
Yeah, yeah. Because when you first got this, it was the beginning of the project. It was about arranging everything because it's going to end up being like a 300-page report, right?
Yeah. There was a lot of fast moving parts, and I was able to move this here and come up with a plan for the next section. But now I'm down to the nuts and bolts of
just doing
actually writing it.
And consistently, day after day after day, which is going to be like poke his eyes out every day. So thank you, because that's a great example. So that if I was coaching you, I would say now daily, how can you use your achiever more efficiently? How can you rearrange things so that you get a few things done every day and not think about what can you rearrange daily to get a few things done so that it's not a squirrel.
Yeah, I think maybe setting some goals for the day.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to get to this point, or I'm going to finish this section for it to be a successful day.
Yeah, because if you don't, your arranger and your achiever, like you said earlier, really can butt heads, if you will, or rub each other, because your achiever wants to get it done, but your arranger's like, I need things to rearrange. I've already rearranged everything, and now it's just doing it. And so it's like, it's bored. Your arranger's bored. Yeah. Well, I got some housework you can do. I got some socks that you can rearrange, and
I may need that distraction.
See, the problem is though, you could get too distracted, right, and then not get in there and get anything done. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's such a fine line. Such a fine line. Let me ask you this question. We always ask this one, but can you think of somebody that's famous? We know we don't have their talents. I wish we did. We could give this to every famous person, fictional or non-fictional, character that you respect or you think may have the theme arranger in their top 5, and that's why you like them?
I think someone like I'm a big Virginia Tech football fan, so Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, comes to mind. You know, every week he's challenged with getting his team ready and deciding where his defensive players are going to cheat, where they're going to play, the obstacles they're going to be up against, and coming up with a game plan. And he's done that consistently over, you know, a lot of years and been one of the best at it. So I admire him, and I think he has those talents.
Yeah, I would think, anybody in that position, right? Being able to see the plan, rearranging it, and moving forward. Yeah, I could totally see how that is. So we do have a few people on the line. Does anybody have a question? You could chat it, or you can unmute yourself, or I can unmute you here. I'll unmute. Does anybody have any questions for Steve about his arranger talent? If not, that's fine too. Well, whoops. Okay. So what do you want people to know just about the study of strengths? What advice, why do you think this language is good for whether it's with spouses or if it's with work or just knowing yourself? What do you wish other people could know about learning about their strengths?
Well, I think it's important that you know about your own strengths, um, and your spouse understands that. Obviously, it's benefited me, but to know your coworkers' strengths, I think that would eliminate a lot of friction at times in the workplace. I think it would help in the team building and the overall success of a team in a business environment. Um, and you know what you have, you know what your talent is, and you can work to develop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I wish everybody had it, right? Of course, I wish everybody had this. Wonderful. So again, arranger, it's about arranging, rearranging, and it's really about efficiency and making sure, Steve, he kept saying that for the best, to be the best. So that's his competition coming out with as a ranger. But somebody who has it, I have a friend who has a ranger, and she tends to keep rearranging and not, she has to really put boundaries on herself because she doesn't have a lot of executing themes. And so, in other words, to get things done. And so a ranger, she struggles because she doesn't put boundaries on it or those deadlines on it. And she's just constantly rearranging. Where I have a ranger, I think it's number 8, and then focus number 9. So I go into somewhere and especially like chaos. So if there's like chaos going on, I love it, right? Because I want to go in and rearrange everything, and then my focus takes over, and we're like, I zoom in, do it, and then it goes to my achiever. Let's get it done. I've already strategically eliminated everything. So, I mean, that's, my arranger there and how it can actually take over. But if she doesn't have timelines, she just constantly scroll. If people get frustrated with her because she'll change things just to change them. We also have, I have a couple clients that we work with that have a ranger in their top 5 that have teams. And one of them in particular, I'm thinking of, their team was struggling with them because they were changing things just to change them and thinking, no, I'll just change this, no big deal. Well, it is a big deal. You've got to have a communication plan. You've got to let people know. You have to get buy-in because to you, it's no big deal because this is your common sense, right? For me, it's not common sense, but for you, you're like, why wouldn't we change this? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Have you ever said that to yourself?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we change this?
Absolutely.
When does that typically happen? It's like your dumb moment.
Well, when there's something doesn't go as planned, there's an obstacle in the road that wasn't expected, and then that's when my gears start turning. It's like, what can we do?
Yeah, what can we do? Why, this is just duh, right? Why don't we do this? I also think of when you were in the military and going into chaos and being able to put people and your individualization, putting people where they needed to be, like in a drill or even in live, combat or whatever. I'm guessing that your arranger came in handy during those times.
Well, during training, it was on overdrive, I would say, because I was so caught up in, we're going to do it this way. You're going to do it so many times. When you actually have to do it when it matters, there's no time to think. It's going to be just a reaction instead of
so you already instantly knew what to do. Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. We are actually getting done a few minutes early. That's okay. So if any of you have any questions on our ranger, and I thank you for doing this today, babe.
You're welcome.
And we will look forward to next week. We're going to be talking about activator, and just be kind with people who have a ranger and are constantly needing to change things, and maybe just ask them, when do you think you'll make a decision? How many times do we need to rearrange this before we can move on? Or, questions like that, right? And not in a condescending way, just in a, hey, when you're done, when do you think you're going to be done thinking about this? And ask those questions so that I don't have to sit around and think about it. I come back to them at the end of the week and go, did you get it done? So with that, thank you again, sir. Thank you for all of you guys hopping on this today. And those of you watching the recording, we hope that these Unique Genius of 33 sessions are of value to everyone. And we appreciate your loyalty to listening. And welcome, and we'll see you next week. So awesome. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.